Oh, all right. So you've been talking about how we make great looking Power BI reports. You want to make it easy. You don't necessarily want to spend a billion hours on this stuff because, like, I know only one guy who has time for that. But how are you going to do it, right? How are you going to get started making this super easy? Well, don't worry. I got you. In this one, we're going to show you. I already did some of the backgrounds, but we're going to add the one little amazing polish that turns your blah blah reports into like aha reports. All right. So do the YouTube thing, like, subscribe, leave comments. Let's talk about this stuff. It all helps me out. I really appreciate it. If you really want to help me out, for as little as $5 a month, you can become a member and get early access to all this content. Okay, so you were asking me, where do I get this template file? I've showed it on a number of other videos where I got all these different backgrounds and whatnot. Well, good news for you. I got off my lazy patoot and I upload this up into Git. Links are going to be down below where you can go and get this stuff. So not just the PowerPoint deck that I started with, but actually the image files as well as this PBIX that we're going to be kind of talking about today. Okay. But we've got all of this. It's available inside this PBIX file. There's very little data in this, but I want to just like give you something to get started with so you can see all this content here. All of those items that we talked about. I'm going to show you something really simple here. Okay, we're gonna look at like how do you make your information pop, right? Because if I look at like a year and a sales amount, like this is pretty common. Like, okay, so I got my year amount and I've got text. Okay. Maybe I set up as columns and that doesn't, or bars and columns. That's kind of more right. But this doesn't have enough pizzazz for me. I want to do something more than just have this in place. I want to give this a little punch. And I actually want to do something where, like, I've got a couple options where I want to use either my blue theme for some things or my gold color because I've got two colors in my I've got my blue and I've got my like orange color here, right? So sometimes I want to show a gradient value because gradient will show progress over time, with the most recent year always having kind of the darkest. And as you go further back, I want to do that. I don't want to go in and I could go in and I could take these. I could say, okay, hey, I could go over to my columns and I could change my color over to orange. But that's not great. Well, don't worry. I've got this incredible little script I could show you where we can actually make your graphs look really, really pop with either your blue with that diminishing value going all the way down or over to gold and making that value, right? Now, you say, Chris, okay, that looks pretty good, but like I don't want to go in and configure all of those columns each time. That looks a huge pain in the neck. Well, hey, don't worry, I got you. All right, that can be easily accomplished with some little simple DAX scripting and using the switch value as well as the selected value. I'm sorry, selected value in combination with the switch. Okay, so if you create a measure like this, and that stuff will be down below too, where you basically look for the selected type value, and in this case, I'm going to talk about my table and column. So when that column is selected, I'm going to actually put some controls around, like, hey, what are my colors going to be? And I know you're like, well, Chris, I don't necessarily, I only know, let's say I only know my primary one. How the heck do I get that nice gradient? Well, it's very simple. You just head over to Copilot or ChatGPT or your favorite LLM, give them the color you want to start off as base, and boom, it'll generate that. You create those two measures inside of your model, right? So they're both inside this model right now. I can actually see them over here. Let me zoom in so you can see them here. We add those into the model, and then we do something really tricky. So I've got the code blue selected, and I've got the yellow select here, right? So you can see these are in the model, right? There's nothing nothing tricky here, nothing sneaky. But what we do is on the value itself, we go into the format pane and we head down to the columns. Okay. I'm going to expand this and I'm going to like hone in on this bad boy. Okay. You need to change the color to this FX. This function right here is what we're looking for. So I'm going to hit on the function. It's going to come up. You're going to say, hey, I want it. It's going to say gradient. Like, do you want it to look like this? And you could, right? I could say, yeah, so sum of sales amount. I could do that, but that looks crap. Oh, look at that new little thing. Well, that's kind of neat, but I don't like that. I don't want to do that for whatever reason. I mean, I suppose I could do that, but I'm gonna make this a little different. I want to be very specific with this. So I'm gonna, instead of it being a gradient, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna choose a field value, right? And I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna find that field value that I wanted, which was the year color code blue. You can see that I've got it selected right there. I'm gonna go ahead and say okay. And now I've got that gradient on my bar. Now, the reason I really like this is because, again, I'm showing the progress of a value over time. So I've got my most recent values with the highest values in place. I've got my furthest values the most like dim and further, not as clear. That's how this stuff works, right? Like it's not quite as relevant to what's current. So I make my most current information the darker of the colors. And I do that on both of these visuals, okay? Now, the idea here is you keep them in the same color palette, but you don't change up the color palette because you're not showing anything that's truly fundamentally different. Just time, is all we're talking about going past. Now, if you're looking for breaking out values, this is where you might want to look at having different colors showing up, okay? And so in this case, I have created a very similar thing where I've got my whoopsies. I've got my switch statement based upon my education colors. This is very common in companies for like your product breakouts, right? Like if you've got 5 primary products or, what groupings, assign a color to it. That can be really useful, especially as you're looking at different, as you start to drill in on items and they become less clear on what they are. This color coordination can really help you understand what it is you're looking at value wise. But by choosing a color palette and then like coming up with how I want this to like kind of lay out, I can actually be very prescriptive in defining what my colors are. In this case, I'm going to call out one thing very specific in here. Now, this switch statement is going to be very similar to the other one. Okay, so I've got my selected value, or I'm going to define it. I've got my switch. I'm going to run through all my items that I have, and I'm going to define each one. But I've added one thing on the end here, and that's the default value or else value, right? So in all of these, I'm defining what they are for each and every one of them. This value, on the other hand, this is what we do if I haven't listed it. All right. This is nice because you want to have some kind of control over that. Okay. And again, code for this is down below. There's lots of other videos out there that will run you through the switch statements and all that good jazz. All right. So what do you think? Is this helpful? I know a lot of people ask like, hey, can I see these in reports? Can I touch it, play with it? It's out on the Git repo. Again, repo link is down below. Check it out. Let me know what questions you guys got. Now, it wouldn't make sense for you to do the Kratos BI colors for your company, but just start with the PowerPoint template that's out there. Swap in your colors, swap in your logo, make some small changes, and then you've got a base set of templates and files that you can use inside your organization that's all custom. It's attuned to you, and you're off and ready to run into the races. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was useful for you. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know like, what's the favorite looking report you've ever seen, or what's your favorite visual, or like, let me know what you think about when it comes to like making great reports and how much time and energy you spend on those. Okay. You have the best day ever. Peace. All right. I get it. This stuff is more than a little challenging. If you need help, head over to bakertilly.com/digital. Click on, get some more information, and just tell them you need like help from Chris Wagner. Myself or one of my colleagues will reach out and help you out. We'll get you some help. Don't worry about it. If you think you can do this, and I have faith in you, yes, you. I've got some videos that can help you, right? Like these and many, many more. So have a great day.